Good first day of the week to you. We're winding up Matthew chapter 11. Remember, it starts out with the disciples of John that are saying, John wants to know if you're for real. And Jesus said, yeah, go show John those things that you've seen and heard. And then he talks about unbelievers that try to force themselves into positions of authority in the kingdom, and that he has the rightful rule in the kingdom. And then he says they're like little kids out in the marketplace that want to make the rules and say what game we're going to play, and that unbelief is pretty well that way. And then remember, he says he reveals himself, reveals his truth to those who humble themselves, who aren't pushy and demanding and arrogant, but instead are babes. And how that we don't understand anything unless God reveals it to us, that Christianity is not a philosophy. Christianity is a revelation. Then Jesus winds up three final verses in the book of Matthew, chapter 11. And he says something that I've heard quoted at funerals before, and I think the main reason is because he speaks about rest. But Jesus says, "Come unto me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am gentle and kind of heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Taking someone's yoke upon you was a way of saying that you were going to let somebody be your teacher. And Jesus said, my yoke is easy, my burden is light, as compared to the wise and prudent who came up with a dictionary-sized volume just to talk about what you could and couldn't do on the Sabbath. All these rules and regulations. You know, in Acts chapter 15, when Gentiles started getting saved, the Jewish leadership in the church was talking about, what do we tell them now that they need to do as Christians? And listen to what James said. Why do you put God to the test by placing on the neck of these disciples a yoke which neither we nor our fathers have been able to bear? In other words, we couldn't do all these rules and regulations. Why should we expect a bunch of new Christians who are Gentiles to do something that we couldn't do? And he said, let's tell them the simple thing. You've placed your faith in Jesus Christ, you're in the family of God. And if you want to behave yourself, don't fornicate, don't eat something that's been strangled, and don't eat blood. And if you do these things, you do well. Notice they didn't say these are things you have to do to stay saved. These are things, if you want to do well, stay away from this bad stuff. Nice and simple. So Jesus was saying later, like Matthew chapter 23, the Pharisees bind heavy burdens on men, grievous to be borne. And what did he say about his burden? It's light. Believe in me. Rest in me by faith. My yoke is easy. It fits good. My burden is light. Christianity is revealed, and Christianity is really simple. You place your faith in Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior. You yield yourself to the Lordship of Jesus Christ and let His Spirit fill you, and Christ lives His life through you. Not a whole bunch of rules and regulations that it takes a PhD to learn, but instead, babes. I think I like that. God bless you. I'm done.